Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
With a continued passion for public television, we are proud to underwrite Steppin Out.
Please join us in supporting WYES television.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao! AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. We are kicking off, even though it says 35, we're kicking off our 38th season. So maybe it's time for a new open, right? And as always, thank you for tuning in. Joining me tonight, John DeMers from Falls Church, Virginia. Hi, John. Author of a brand new book
Peggy.
about a vintage New Orleans cocktail called the Vieux Carre. But John was on Steppin Out for over 10 years during the 90s. And so we're glad to see him once again. He also wrote the Arnold's Cookbook and many, many others too. We're thrilled. Singer, guitarist, composer Marc Stone, who is celebrating his birthday with a concert, and he's also going to celebrate that CD this Friday at DBA on Frenchman Street. Hello, Marc.
Hi, Peggy.
Welcome. He's going to play for us later, too. And Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and TheaterCriticism.com. Hello.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay. Poppy returns next week. But I will actually share where I've been dining lately. So first up, this is all going to go fast. I wanted to show you, though, some St. Joseph altars around town from last week. There seem to be more of these tributes to St. Joseph than we've had in a while. First, that's St. Francis Xavier Church on Metairie Road. It's one of the largest. It featured many cakes in tribute to loved ones. St. Dominic in Lakeview featured a cross-covered, look at that, beautiful, it's so pretty. But look at this cross-covered actual floral treatment made from lemon peel. Very, very unique. St. Joseph's in Gretna was also enormous and festooned with fig pastries and Lenten dishes. Cabrini High, my alma mater, its altar was in the school's very precious historic chapel and created by the Elenians Women's Organization. Chappelle High School had an altar too, and look at that, it's precious. As did St. Angela, look at this, St. Angela Merici. And note the very artistic book cut out spellings that said peace on it. You saw that earlier. And finally, BK House on Chartis in the Quarter, depicting an altar in a home, the tradition once quite prevalent in the Quarter and around the city. Much gratitude to all of the folks who came together and worked for months baking and constructing these culinary works of art and raising money for many local charities. Next, a few suggestions based on where I've been eating lately. Best onion rings, Mandina's, on Canal Street, and the steak knife on Harrison. Crisp and just crunchy enough for me. Great shrimp remoulade, Mandina's also, and Arnaud's in Galatoire's, yes. Great store-bought crawfish. I adore crawfish. All right, Lakeview Grocery. Their price just keeps going down. $3.69, and they're really big. $6.69 per pound. And they also have a delicious hot dish and salad bar with a newly renovated Cove Cafe area to dine in. Just a little over $10 a full meal. Good deal. Last two, Tid Bites, all right. Perfect Lenten catfish plate at Mona's Cafe on Bank Street in Mid-City. Wonderful baklava there, by the way, too. And check out their market right next door. Very reasonable prices on spices and other items as well. And finally, sippin' old-fashioned at Mandina's, but do ask for Maker's Mark. And this weekend, there's going to be the Treme Creole Gumbo and Congo Square Rhythms Festival. That's in Armstrong Park. Also a tribute to Tom Dent. So go to jazzandheritage.org for more info on all of that. And so lots of really good stuff around there. But John, let's move to you because of this new book. My goodness, how many books have you written over the years?
Well, 59.
Just 59. Well, let's talk about this precious little book. And I think a lot of people are going to say, what's the Vieux Carre? What is the Vieux Carre?
Well, in this case, there is a series from LSU Press, my alma mater, but though the first book I've ever written for LSU Press, there's a series called Iconic New Orleans Cocktails. And I was so impressed with the first two books I saw in the series. Tim McNally covered the Sazerac, and then Sue Strachan covered Café Brûlot. In fact, Sue called me to ask about Café Brûlot, not the last time anybody thought I was an expert on something I knew nothing about. But that said, I wanted to do one. So LSU Press sent me a list of books they wanted, of cocktails they wanted to cover. And I researched, I did the typical Google thing and decided that the Vieux Carre is a cocktail in the French Quarter, created at the Monteleone Hotel. And since I had spent so many years working at the Fairmont Hotel, now again the Roosevelt, I just felt that I understood the hotel vibe, the lobby bar vibe, where a guy named Walter Bergeron tended bar for decades.
And we're going to show you the lobby of that historic hotel, and then also the lobby bar. So this is before the Carousel Bar. We're going to see those, yes.
Right. Even though today people drink the Vieux Carre cocktail all over the place in the Carousel Bar, Walter Bergeron created it in the 1930s, and the Carousel Bar didn't actually appear until after his death.
Yes. So we have the lobby bar too. We want to show you too as well.
Yeah, show that one.
There you go. Yeah.
So
that's all before the Carousel, but it's made. I guess it's been made famous through the Carousel, huh?
It has been. I mean, the cocktail is, even though there's still a high percentage of Sazerac drinkers in the world, if you want to go to the Monteleone and enjoy a Vieux Carre in the house of its creation, then you will be in the Carousel Bar, and you probably will be spinning around very slowly.
John, what's in it? Okay, what's in that drink?
Before you had one.
That's right.
What's in it?
Right.
Okay.
What's in that drink?
Well, Walter Bergeron, he of Thibodeau, who moved to New Orleans, created a drink that he said celebrated France. And for starters, it celebrates New Orleans. So this is actually B&B. The two first ingredients are brandy and Benedictine. So if you have brandy, like cognac, and if you have Benedictine, go ahead and use those. Or B&B is sort of like a shortcut. It's that simple. In the hotel named after Antonio Monteleone, Walter knew where his bread was buttered, and he used sweet vermouth, just like in a Negroni, let's say, in Italian. So this is an Italian thing. So he reflected the New Orleans and Sicilian, specifically, character of New Orleans. And then he wanted to sort of underline that a Vieux Carre was part of America by the time of his birth and all that. So he chose rye whiskey. This is actually Bullet, which is one of my favorites, but there's a lot of people make rye whiskey. A lot of these rye whiskeys are from Pennsylvania. And since I'm now in Virginia, the rye whiskey was also the whiskey, George Washington made it, by the way, at Mount Vernon. Mm-hmm. And it was also the whiskey in the Whiskey Rebellion, one of the earliest fights between citizens and the federal government. Mm-hmm. So, by the way, the federal government won. And so those are in the 1930s, and as in pre-prohibition cocktails, booze wins. I mean, there's none of this lime juice stuff. I mean, there's no Hawaiian punch. This is like booze. Oh, yeah, grab some more booze, please. But the two things that add interest to the flavor are two kinds of bitters. Now, this is because it was given away at a liquor store, and I couldn't resist taking a bunch. But Angostura, which is connected with Trinidad, Angostura bitters and then our beloved New Orleans-born Peychaud's bitters, and Walter Bergeron uses both of them in the Vieux Carre. So
John, we're going to
all
show
you need
a
to do
full
is-
screen. Look at that. That's wonderful. You've made one, and we're actually going to toast you for the book. But let's also show the full screen of all the ingredients. And this is from your book, okay, which
Read
is
fast.
great. But I love this book, and it's a handy dandy, and it moves quickly. And you also talk about the Mont Leon and a lot of New Orleans history. But congratulations, and I just love that 59 books later, John, and you're still at it, you know. And of course, available at all local bookstores and on Amazon as well. Well, good. Well, we'll come back to you a little bit later.
LSU Press.
Yes, and
Thank
LSU
you.
Press.
Thanks,
LSU
Peggy.
Press. Thank you very much, and we'll see you a little bit later. But Mark, it's great to have you here. The last time you were here, you're actually in the band with Leo Neo-Santelli, and I know you work in other bands, but now it's your band this weekend, and I know you're going to play for us too. Tell us about what you're up to lately.
Well, you know, I've been really fortunate doing a lot of great stuff with our band, and you know, a lot of stuff under my own name, and focusing a lot on playing my originals, which is something I've done for years, and I've always enjoyed getting to play with other musicians. It's nice to be able to step out of the leader role and just enjoy playing someone else's music and be able to kind of focus on your instrument and interacting with them. But, you know, I've got such a wonderful band going right now, and for a lot of years I've celebrated my birthday when I'm in town at DBA with big special shows there, and Tom Thayer and the folks at DBA have always been so welcoming and supportive ever since they opened in, 99, 2000.
Well, I know you've got the relatively new CD, but before we go any further, you have performed a song for us just a few minutes ago. Tell us about what we're going to see.
That is the first song I ever wrote and kept a long, long time ago when I was living in New York City, where I grew up. It's called Shining Like a Diamond, and it's actually the title track of the new album.
All right.
And
well, great. Well, let's see. Shining Like a Diamond.
Teetering on the brink of maybe, I fear the fall. Darkness threatens me through my days. Wandering through the sunless streets, sweet summertime oppresses me, and I can't see the light through the haze. Falling down a endless well of insecurity and misdirection, trying to sing my simple song to you. Do you understand the purity of my intention, or am I not getting through? Darling, please don't walk away. Haven't said quite what I have to say. I won't let another moment pass us by. I see that glimmer of hope shining like a diamond from deep within your emerald eye. Stranded on the edge of daylight, blackness close behind, falling like that or driving rain, unhanded by a touch of kindness. I sit alone, hoping to hear you saying so sweetly my refrain. Darling, please don't walk away. Haven't said quite what I have to say. I won't let another moment pass us by. I see that glimmer of hope shining like a diamond from deep within your sepia eye.
Marc's birthday bash. Okay, Friday night. That is at DBA, and oh my goodness, Marilyn Barbaran, Reggie Scanlon, and Papa Molly. That's quite the combination, sir. Huh?
It really is. It's wonderful to work with those guys. It's really fun.
And also, of course, to find out more about Marc, you can go to Marc Stone NOLA. We've got that on our full screen. We'll show you that. And you can download on that website, and Marc Stone NOLA, of course. And that's the wonderful CD cover. Love that.
Oh, Jamie Risborg.
Really?
Yeah, what a wonderful artist.
Looks great. Looks great. And marcstonenola@gmail.com, and we have that information as well. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to having you coming on. Thank you.
Thank
just
you,
real
Peggy.
quick, tell me about the guitar.
This guitar, this beautiful guitar, I don't know if you've got it in the shot.
Okay.
This belonged to Spencer Bowen, the great blues
So
and
missed.
folk artist who I was lucky enough to call my neighbor for a number of years once upon a time. And after he passed, his wife Marilyn asked me to come to the house to check out all of his acoustic instruments and make sure they were fit for sale. And then she let me know this was available, and I couldn't say no. And then the great John Mooney was kind enough to really restore it for me and make this great instrument out
so
of it.
missed, you know. Thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you.
And moving on to Alan.
Peggy, you had two guests on, one talking about cocktails and the other one playing a musician. Both times I got stoned.
Okay.
So, all right, there's good news and there's bad news. Dealing sort of with the current production of the Tennessee Williams Theater Company, The Night of the Iguana, which is, you know, their latest production. Jake Wynn Wilson, you can see him on the cover there. He plays the defrocked Episcopal priest T. Lawrence Shannon. He's a man about to spin out of control. You see him here with the hotel owner and recent widow Maxine Falk, played by Lauren Wells. The two headline a very satisfying production with a well-executed set you can see right behind them, designed by Steve Shepker. And Justice Hughes, also in the cast, plays this mysterious Hannah Jelks, who connects to Shannon in unexpected ways over the course of a very traumatic night. It's wonderfully directed by Augustin Carrero. The bad news is that this production is sold out, I'm afraid to say, for all the remaining performances, but should serve as a reminder to get your tickets early, as I advised last week, as soon as possible for this company's shows in the Lower Depths Theater. But unfortunately, all sold out. But, you know, keep that as an advisement for next time. There is, however, good news. The Le Petit Theater, meanwhile, with another Tennessee Williams work, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, they have announced an extension, another great weekend for Tennessee Williams' work, and that'll be on through next weekend instead of closing this weekend. So all of this focus, of course, is on Tennessee Williams and the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival, which continues, as you know, Peggy, through the weekend with performances at the Monteleone Hotel, the Always Lounge, and other locations around town. For more information, I really suggest everybody go to TennesseeWilliams.net and check all the available information out on the schedule there. At only about 80 minutes, with no intermission, Lauren Gunderson's Exit Pursued by a Bear is a very funny, thought-provoking look into the issue about the cycle of abuse and domestic abuse, a very non-funny topic. But Natalie Boyd headlines as Nan in this production. She's the wife of Kyle, a Georgia redneck who drinks too much, hunts out of season, and unfortunately beats her. The play, which allows the actors to break in and out of character as they construct their own play, is all about Nan and her struggle to break free. But also struggling to break free, as you can see there, literally, is Kyle, played by Radical Buffoon's artistic director, John Green. Kyle is made to see his destructive behavior, and he's forced to face his own destruction at the hands of Nan and her accomplices. He's simply wonderful as the heavy in this role. Also, as Sweetheart, Angie Z, who we all know as a singer and burlesque performer, strikes out in a role that's destined to be one of this year's most memorable and delightful on stage. You'll see her, she and the angry Mint Blair there, he plays Simon. They're basically playing the people who are conspiring with Nan. They team up to give Kyle a little dose of some of his own medicine. They give him some thought about his actions, his consequences, and they basically lead all up to his being eaten possibly by, you get the idea, you know. Okay, directed by Tori Hayward and Tanaj Jackson, Exit Pursued by a Bear is named for a very famous Shakespeare stage direction, The Winter's Tale, is where it comes from. And what Shakespeare could not have envisioned is that it would inspire a play by Lauren Gunderson more than 400 years later where actual bears would be a part of the subplot. The show has another 10 performances on most nights at 8 o'clock at the Fortress of Lushington. Get your tickets at simpletix.com. And remember, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes the bar eats you. All right. Now, meeting fans of Stephen King may also know a little bit about Misery, and we're talking about, of course, the novel that Stephen King wrote. This is going to be a play now. It's based on the 1987 novel that was turned into a film and resulted in an Academy Award for Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes, opposite James Caan, if you remember, as Paul Sheldon. The play was written by William Goldman. That's the same guy who did the screenplay. And again, you might remember him with a couple of other things that he wrote, like Shrek and a few other things. But anyway, he had this, and if you saw it on Broadway, it starred Laurie Metcalf in a Tony-nominated performance opposite, of all people, Bruce Willis. So check this out. It opens, of course, through the weekend, and you'll be able to see it at the Teatro Ouigo. Another new play opening this week is Josephine Baker, From Creole Goddess to Siren of the Resistance. This is at the World War II Museum. The show is not unlike Anais St. John's previous homage to Lulu White, with various contemporary songs being used to tell her story. The music director on the show is Harry Marone Jr. The show is written by Denise Altabello. It's running for 2 weekends at BB's Stage Door Canteen, opening tomorrow night. And for those looking for more information on this show, I ask you to please join with me, Anais, and Denise Altabello, who will be my guests on the NOLA Theater Talk Show. You can see it on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel. And Peggy, I just wanted to mention 2 more shows. Loyola University is going to be producing their production of Urinetown that opens tomorrow night on the Uptown campus at the Marquette Theater. And also opening for the first of 2 performances this weekend will be Madama Butterfly, with the New Orleans Opera Association presenting what is promised to be an entirely different kind of staging.
Okay, thank you so much. And now this show's flying by. We're Picks of the Week. John, name a few of your books for us.
Well, I was thinking about that, Peggy, and if you can find it as a used book, my Arno's Creole Cookbook from Simon & Schuster from like 1986 is one of the highlights of my life. Spending 3 years in the kitchen at Arno's is something to remember.
Okay.
The later book, The Food of New Orleans, and then also in sort of prophecy of my current book called Big Easy Cocktails, written with Jimmy Bano. So those are 3 that, you know, but again, the Arno's Cookbook is really special to me.
Okay, thank you so much. Mark, Bank Street Bar, huh?
Yeah, I've been doing residency there on Wednesday evenings, and that's just such a wonderful, cozy neighborhood spot, and it draws a really interesting mix of people. Yeah, it kind of touches every level of demographic there, and they've got a good sound system, and it's a fun place for my band to stretch out and work out new ideas.
Sounds good. Alan?
For classical music lovers, the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra will be performing the Sibelius Symphony No. 2 next Thursday night at the Orpheum, along with 2 other shorter pieces by Britton and Nielsen. Guest conductor will be Courtney Lewis, who you see there. He'll be on hand to lead the LPO through their paces, and I'll see you at the theater.
All right. Okay, some real quick picks, because we want to show you something very special. But NOLA Chamberfest this weekend, NOLAChamberfest.com. Stephen Rea has a fiction writing class coming up, and you can check that out. That starts April 4th. I am going to actually be moderating a panel at the Tennessee WYES Festival, and that's on Friday. New books about Mardi Gras. Errol is going to be interviewing Dr. Doug Brinkley on Saturday. But now, what we want to do is show you just a little glimpse of last weekend's Stella Shouting contest. Let's take a look.
Welcome, everyone, to the 37th Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. We're excited to have you here today for the Stella and Stanley and whoever screaming contest. Let's give it up for our Stanley and Stella. Stella! Okay.
Give it to me.
Hey, Stella! There you go. Yes!
Stella! I love her.
Stella! Stella! Yes! Yeah!
Oh, Stella, you're so fun. You're so fun. You're so fun.
Now for the winners.
And special thanks to Jonathan Evans, who shot that and edited. By the way, funds raised from the contest are going to the festival and the New Orleans Family Justice Center. So we're so excited we could be able to do that. WWL-TV's Eric Paulson's interview with Tennessee Williams. He did it in 1981, 2 years before Williams died. Don't miss this half-hour show we put together, a conversation with Tennessee Williams in New Orleans, airing on WYES Saturday, 5 p.m., Sunday at 10 a.m., and Thursday, March 30th at 12:30 a.m. All of this, and will also be streamed, and you can see it on the apps and all that good stuff. Thank you all so very much, and thank you for watching. Good night.
Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
With a continued passion for public television, we are proud to underwrite Steppin Out.
Please join us in supporting WYES television.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao! AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.